Squirtle wins this, he goes on to play seed, and one of those two players will be unable to make it into the top 6.
That's pretty rough times. What can I say? That's let's find out though exactly which one of these guys are going to be making it through, because we are now on map number 1 and spawning in the top right-hand position. Ladies and gentlemen, our Chinese Terran is our hope. What will he be able to do in this particular game? It's going to be XY.
Hailing from Invictus Gaming, a well-known gaming team out here in China. Now his opponent, you know him, as coming from StarTale, he's the one and only Squirtle.
Squirtle, pretty sick gamer, man. Like, just now we were like, wow, Squirtle, so good. He, like, wins games instantly. Doesn't even wait for the builder to win. He just makes his opponent split badly and they leave the game. Really cool stuff. But all jokes aside, guys, game number 1, it is on here, day number 2 of the Asia Finals. Really excited to see which one of these guys goes up against Seed as well at the end of this best of 3. No easy games left in this bracket. Really tough road ahead. And the competition's really starting to heat up now, Rob.
Oh, it most certainly is. All right, so now, Jorisar,
yep,
you're a Terran man.
I am.
All right, so you're entering a big game with a player that you probably recognize as being very strong, likely stronger than thou.
Yep.
What do you do here? What do you do here? How do you keep your head in the game, and what do you do to try to threaten the greatness that is Squirtle?
Well, Squirtle's a guy with a lot of international experience. There is no getting away from that. XY's like stupendously good Terran, but he hasn't had as much international tournament success and exposure as Squirtle, just because Squirtle's been traveling around everywhere. So what you want to be doing in XY's position, in my opinion, is you just need to stay calm and stay true to your game. Don't go into a game like this thinking, oh no, I'm going to have to do something super cheesy to try and defeat Squirtle or something like that. We could have seen Proxy Marauders, for example, on Daybreak. XY electing not to go for that. Note that he hasn't actually taken a gas yet. If you take a quick look at that mini-map, no gas in the Terran base. He's actually just playing cool, calm, collected, going for that 1 Rax expand build. And in my opinion, this is a good way for him to start. I think it's showing that the nerves aren't getting to him. He's not afraid of playing an opponent as illustrious and well-known as Squirtle, and he's willing to take it all away. So we could potentially here we could see a little bit of an upset, and the way XY has opened this game, just being really calm about it, I think shows us that he knows, regardless of whether he's favored or not, he knows he's capable of doing it. And now the question is whether he delivers.
Right, and showing his willingness to head up into at least the mid-game. He's not going to be going for any sort of crazy shenanigans early game. We have him adding on his second command center already. Meanwhile, Squirtle not doing anything too out of the ordinary. He started with that 13 gate, just moved directly into his Cybernetics core, and is now pumping out his first Stalker.
Oh dear. Oh, well, we have the bunker actually going down at the natural expansion vector. A little bit of a hiccup there, but everything is completely fine now. Awesome stuff. First game of the day and all. Bunker going out. We see some Terrans actually move the bunker and put it down sort of by the ramp going up into the main base. And that has both its good and bad points. You can protect your ramp from units trying to go up in case someone's going for like some sort of huge early bust. And it's sort of kind of sheltered away, so you can't get as much surface area on the bunker as well. But conversely, at the same time, you're not able to get in behind the mineral line and sort of stop units from going around. So in this particular case, XY electing for the frontal approach with that bunker, just trying to get hot shots off on anything that attempts to go by rather than focus on defending his ramp.
That's
right.
So,
stuff the natural.
Yes, exactly. So Squirtle has gotten out here. He has his Nexus down. He's also added on that second gateway. Again, nothing terribly out of the ordinary happening just yet, but you can bet that Squirtle is going to have some surprises up his sleeve. He wants to get a commanding lead over XY as fast as possible. La la la. So over here, XY has added on 2 more Raxes.
Yep.
Generally indicative of a good amount of bio units, because hey, that's what Raxes build.
Yeah, going for the double gas as well. This is like really, really bread and butter TVP at the moment. Going for the 1 Rax into 3 Rax, getting that double gas. He'll be getting probably a tech lab down on one of his barracks reasonably soon, as well as a factory. It looks like he's actually mixing it up a bit, going for a reasonably early engineering bay at the same time as the barracks as well. So electing perhaps not to go too quickly into that factory there, trying to get that +1 attack, perhaps.
Well, and he'll also be getting probably that quick stim as well. Yes, we can see stim now started. He's also going to have Marauders out in play, which should be moderately strong against Squirtle's 3-gate Robo.
Well, now the trade-off in this situation for XY, of course, is that he's delayed his first 2 medevacs. He's grabbing that very quick stim, and he's also got the engineering bay immediately researching +1. So it looks like he's timing this out potentially to go for some sort of stim +1 timing here, but that will be at the expense of being able to get that starport down as early as he otherwise would have liked. Some Terrans like to rush directly up to that factory and go for the starport immediately. We see the factory now going down for XY. And in this particular case, we see him prioritizing those upgrades. So it gives him an extra option in terms of attacking Squirtle, because he might be able to hit with that +1 way, otherwise wouldn't have it. But that is at the expense of medevac, so he needs to be super careful about overextending.
Yeah, especially against somebody like Squirtle. If you overextend, he will just kill you.
Yeah.
Everything that you thought that you had will disappear.
Everything you've ever loved.
Oh, your family, your children, your parents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man.
That's a lot.
Squirtle stops at no lengths to get you to leave the game.
The family dog, everything. No holds barred, man. This guy doesn't stop.
So Squirtle now adding on double forge over here, so we are going to see those upgrades out of him with relative quickness. Oh, interesting.
Okay, now
XY, the missile turret placement.
That is actually...
I mean, is that primarily just to respect the chance of DTs, or is it used to try to get the observer out from scouting around at your natural?
Well, it would... Personally, I think it's probably the former, because the missile turret's right at the ram. It's within range of a bunker as well, so just wants to make sure that nothing super serious is happening. And perhaps this is the first sign this game that we've seen
also
of XY.
So really quickly, XY had just moved out to his third over there, and he took down the forward pylon that was over on that lower right-hand side of the map. If you guys are watching the mini-map like hawks, as you should be, that's where you'll be seeing a lot of the action here.
No, that's a really good point, actually. Didn't quite catch that, but it was just a forward pylon. Some Marines and Marauders moving out across the center.
And here he is also closing in on... just barely gets by. I believe that's another probe.
That's an observer.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
can't see.
One thing that Squirtle actually did just now is when the starport went down on the reactor, he had an observer in the vicinity. So he would have seen, as the starport, like just before it swapped onto the reactor, he would have seen that the engineering bay was already up researching something. So he would have gone, okay, this factory's a little bit late. He's going for a +1 timing. I just want to be a little bit careful here in case he's going for something funky. And the XY is actually posturing quite aggressively out in the center of the map here, which is why Squirtle just has a bunch of sentries with so much energy at the top of his ramp, just going to make sure that nothing incoming is going to kill him early on in the game. And he's just going to continue to play really solidly. Colossus popping out now, extended thermal lance, and he's going to be following up with a Twilight Council as well.
Now, he did follow up by bringing out a lot of Zealots, right? Because he wants as much meat on the field when this push comes. Because he's only going to have a single Colossus in play, and Thermal Lance is not likely to be done when this push happens.
And a little bit of an attempted poke in by a medevac there into the main base, getting completely shut down by Squirtle. And interestingly, XY has actually opted to wait for those medevacs to pop out on the field. He's also going to be getting a +1 armor, finishing up in approximately 20 seconds. So it looks like the potential +1 stim attack timing didn't quite work out for XY there. He elected to wait until the medevacs got out on the field as well. But the other flip side of that...
far too much time, though. That means that now Squirtle has 2 Colossus in play, and he's going to have Thermal Lance done very shortly.
Exactly.
And now Squirtle's very own 1-1 has already finished up, so he's already got his 1 armor and 1 attack upgrades on all of those gateway units.
That's a great point, actually, Rob. Squirtle already at 1-1. XY might finish the 1-1 as well, but with extended Thermal Lances. And Squirtle picking off a medevac. That is not what XY wants at this stage. Even stimming to run away as well. The healing capacity of these medevacs, not infinite, of course. They're going to slowly whittle down in energy, and you get 3 or 4 engagements like that, and by the time the big engagement happens in the game, you realize your medevacs have no energy to heal, so you need to be super careful about protecting those units.
Oh yeah, and XY over there having to stim to run away for just a little bit. Every time that you force any amount of stim on the army, you're doing a good thing. Yeah. Right? You do not want tons of energy on those medevacs because it's going to make your next engagement that much more difficult. Now over here we have seen 2 additional Raxes added on in XY's base. They have tech labs as well, So we're expecting to see many more Marauders. Now, he's only just started his heavy Viking production, so he's not going to have as many as he would like to handle Squirtle's Colossus.
That's actually a big problem for XY as well, because he isn't making any additional medevacs at the moment. He only has 2, and these 2 are going to be used for a drop down in the bottom half of the map. They're not quite moving in just yet, but they're sort of waiting to see when they can get in.
Well, regardless of when they try to get in over there, it's looking like Squirtle is pretty well prepared. He does have Stalkers positioned at the right side of his main over there, in addition to a cannon already set up.
And I just can't help but feeling XY... What's he going to do? He can't exactly overstim. He only has 2 medevacs, and they're both involved in a drop at the moment. He's actually making Vikings non-stop. He's getting +1 attack on the Vikings as well, which is great. And now the drop going to be going in the back of the main base, while the Vikings engage the Colossi as well, out in the middle of the field. A lot happening at the moment. The drop in the main is going to get cleaned up. A decent number of Stalkers being warped in as well. But the medevacs are healing the remaining Marauders and Marines so much.
Squirtle buying a lot of time out there in the main, but oh no, XY just looks like he's been pulling him apart. He pulled apart a little bit of the distraction out there down in the lower part of the map. Up in the main, when that drop was happening, that left those Colossi very vulnerable. The Colossi count right now is down to 0. He killed every single Colossi without them being able to engage XY's army. Now, this pretty much just results in a little bit of a stalemate. There's not going to be a really big push coming out of XY any soon. He got in there, he killed the Colossi that he needed, and now he can just fall back to his 3 base.
Yeah, it all comes down to the medevacs once again, because XY, there's no doubting. He just had a fantastic engagement, killing off the Colossi, picking off that 3rd base, and the drop in the main doing a decent amount of damage as well. Not killing too many probes, only killed 4 there actually, but managed to get a lot of those warped in units. So that was great, but XY still had to retreat immediately. And why did he have to retreat immediately? He still only had the 2 medevacs that were involved in the drop. He needed to regroup and get those additional medevacs in with the army, otherwise he risked overstimming and losing everything. So I love the fact that XY did some damage and then hightailed it out of there, and that has given him a 30 supply lead. So super excited to see what he follows up with next. So many upgrades coming up for him at the moment. 3-3 plus 2 ship weapons, and now going for a nuke as well. He's feeling pretty confident, man.
Oh, you can most certainly bet that he is. He's also got some of those ghosts getting out there as well. His 3-3 is not terribly far away, but Squirtle has been staying just 1 step ahead as far as the upgrade goes. Once Squirtle caught up to the 1-1, he started his 2-2 much faster than XY. Didn't really have much of an opportunity to take advantage of it.
That's, his 3-3 is actually about 30 to 40 seconds ahead of XY. So both players are on 2-2 at the moment, and Squirtle's going to have a nice window where he has 3-3 to his opponent's 2-2, but I don't know if he's planning a timing for it. He is getting Blink now as well. And,
whoa. Fallen a little bit behind, just supply block for a few seconds there. Hasn't followed up with more pylons. He's been a little bit low as far as the mineral count goes, because he's just added on 4 more gates. 4 of them, and he's also taking his 4th base. 4 is the lucky number, Dorsar.
I'm not sure it's going to be for XY if Squirtle intends on using this as some form of timing attack, but he needs to be a little bit careful as well. He's down to 166 supply, or rather up to, versus the maxed out of XY at the moment. He's feeling fairly confident out in the center of the map. The work supply 68 to 66 at the moment, so nothing too out of the ordinary. We have a forward pylon going down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Squirtle going to be warping in a couple of zealots to try and pick apart the 3rd base, but XY already walling it off with supply depots to buy him enough time to get some units to defend. It looks like they're going to be heading to the forward 4th as well, and they're going to get in literally 2 seconds before the planetary fortress finishes, so that's not going to bode him too well either.
Yep, some of the zealots just running up directly into the natural. Now the SCV's heading out to surround them, and they're turning around, getting at least a couple SCVs over there, but the engagement has begun out in the center. Now all the zealots and the Colossi just crushing through XY's army. He's done what he can to spread out, but the Archons and the Stalkers destroyed all of the Vikings, so the Colossi are still alive. We can see the zealots charging down onto what remains of this very small army that XY has at his fingertips.
Waiting for Zealot charge and then moving in at the natural expansion to distract XY while going in with that charge lot Archon primary composition there. Completely caught XY out of position. Squirtle only had 2 Colossi, and there were a lot of Vikings for XY, but they just weren't able to connect in time, and we can see that because one of the Colossi are still alive And XY just completely blundering that engagement, unfortunately, and I think that might actually cost him the game here because Squirtle is now up by 60 supply, and XY has nothing in his main base with which to propel his push.
And XY taps out, putting StarTale.Squirtle 1-0 in the series. That is the power of 3-3.